Hello everyone, it's John from SST again. Hope you're having a great day. Today we're going to learn about Screen Graphics in Florida. They're an industrial screen and digital printing company with 6 large format UV screen presses and many digital presses as well. They made the decision late last year to relocate facilities to Fort Lauderdale in a completely new location. As part of that, they've also made the decision to retrofit all 6 screen presses over to the SST LED system and to also install the SST customized conveyors to go with each of these presses that range up to 60 inches wide. You'll hear today from the project manager that's in charge of the whole project, as well as the vice president of operations and the maintenance supervisor. You hear some input from them regarding saving about $400,000 cost at the new facility by not having to install the exhaust systems and ducting through the roof, saving about $40,000 a year in utility costs due to the conversion to SST LED from UV and reduced air conditioning load on the new facility, and also saving over 300 square feet needed in the new facility by utilizing the shorter conveyor systems from SST. So first we'll hear from Ryan, who was the project manager in charge, and I hope you find the information helpful. Thanks a lot, Ryan. Appreciate the time and all the information sharing today. It's been fantastic.
I'm definitely grateful that you're here, and we've had a wonderful experience. So here at Screen Graphics, basically we're an industrial printing company. We do a lot of the decals that you see on a lot of city trucks, waste management trucks. So very high volume, quality, consistency, but high volume. We have 6 lines that are screen printing, and then we have another 3 lines that are digital.
Okay.
Our screen printing lines were traditional UV curing unit that run very hot. Of course, there's a lot of mechanical and ductwork and everything that's associated. So really the deciding factor, there was 2 things, is our UV curing units were aging out.
Yep.
Parts were very difficult to get, parts are very expensive. And then the secondary major contributing factor is the new facility. So with the traditional UV curing, obviously you have a lot of mechanical work because it runs very hot. So there you have a lot of ducts for each line. The 24-inch duct that needs to go out of the roof and then come back in the roof for fresh air.
Right.
So as far as on the mechanical standpoint, whoever we used, if we went traditional, you're looking between electrical and mechanical work anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000. So one of the main things that we decided was to go to LED, and we researched some companies, and SST just seemed to fit the bill with everything. Spoke to a bunch of people that have had the products from SST, and really it was just really no question, like just the reputation and the feedback we got from asking around in the industry, it would just pointed us straight to SST. So we looked at a lot of different factors. Obviously then saving all the mechanical work, I mean, that was a big portion of it, but if comparatively machine to machine, figuring in all the electrical for the fans and the cooling units, just the energy consumption, we ran the numbers, and then also the less strain on the air conditioners, I would conservatively say that as the unit as a whole, we're saving approximately $40,000 a year just in electricity costs. In our other facility, one of the big things was the building ran very hot, because even though it's ducted out, those big ducts are almost like radiators.
Yep.
And even though it takes probably 80% of the heat out of the building into the roof,
yep,
you get a lot of radiation. So the factory ran very hot, and we've been running these systems for a couple of months now, and everybody cannot believe how cool the factory is. The ACs can actually keep up with the cooling need for the building. It's very comfortable.
Yep.
Another large part is just the maintenance side. With the UV, not only with the traditional UV curing units, you got to deal with bulbs, and you got to deal with when you're going to change the bulbs. It's very difficult to do that. You got to open the whole machine up.
Yep.
You got to take the whole line down. And then also you have the maintenance. If the exhaust fan goes down, you got to deal with that. So with the traditional, there's way many parts to break down and go wrong versus going with an LED system. One of the things when we switched over to the SST LED systems, aside from saving money is the carbon footprint, which nowadays is very important. But along with all the other attributes, the carbon footprint of LED is you're looking at almost like 100% reduction in your carbon footprint just from switching those systems. So it's pretty amazing. When you're talking ROI, the money that we invested, I compare that to not only the energy savings, but the maintenance savings, the time it takes, labor to fix old systems or whatever. And for me, the ROI is around 10 months or maybe a little bit less. And that's not even including the cost and the money that we saved on all the mechanical and electrical work. So I really took, even with taking that portion out of the equation, the ROI is well under a year. Working with SST was very easy because their systems, even though they're very effective, they're nice, simple systems. So the LED portion only takes up about 5 inches of our belt length versus 10 foot, which we previously had. And then now that their SST is offering the option of getting the conveyor belts along with the UV curing system, it just made it super easy. So I called engineers over at SST, gave them our belt lengths. I was able to remove that extra 10 feet from our traditional line. So every single print line that we have, the total length of the line has reduced by 10 foot. And it was just super easy. I said, I need a 60-inch wide belt with the LED curing units. This is how long we need for inspection after the LED. And it was literally one email and it was done. One thing that I've noticed, and especially talking with the operators switching to LED, we can actually run our lines a little faster because when the vinyl comes out after curing, it's very cool. It's not hot, so they don't have to worry about super hot vinyl stacking, and they can keep running. They don't have to stop. They don't have to slow the line down. So as far as efficiency, that's a big plus. And then as far as, I've heard stories of vinyl catching on fire under the traditional systems. That's not an issue. It just doesn't happen. SST, they came with 2 guys. 3 days later, they were up and running. It was seamless and quick. Just working with SST was very, very easy. Going back and forth, some of the recommendations we had, the engineers over there just immediately took them on, just ran with all of our information. The conveyor belt is fairly new to them. And it's just amazing to me that everything came out so seamless. And our downtime from when we moved was almost nothing. I mean, we didn't lose production times at all.
Here with May Crespo from Screen Graphics this afternoon. She's the plant manager with Screen Graphics here in Fort Lauderdale. Just wanted to get some of her thoughts or input about the SST LED system and the conveyor system that they've put on fairly recently. So, May, go to give us first curious about why you decided to make the change from UV to LED.
Yeah. Well, we came across the lack of support and literally parts and any kind of issue that we had with the UVs. So that drove us to LED. Industry wide, LED I think is the next big thing, right? So as far as screen, if you're gonna stay in the business for longer than 5 years, I would think you're gonna go LED. We did try several other companies and we got quotes from several other folks, but the SST design of the modules and the 3 lights on each strip, where you could just incorporate that or take that out instead of having to change the whole light out, I think is the game changer for us. The design that you have with the modules, I think it speaks for itself. So I think that separates you altogether. Add to that the customer service, the engineering, everything else. It's a win-win, right? The speed in which you can run. I mean, now you don't have to worry about heat. You don't have to worry about fires. You don't have to worry about any of those things that are unsafe. You just run and go. And so we picked up a little bit of, I would say 10% speed on our belts. The conveyor belt is also a game changer. It cleans everything up, makes everything nice and neat for our operators. I couldn't be happier with the type of system that you guys provided. You don't need to extract UV, right? So you can have a shop where you have a whole system of operators and they can now hear each other and they can work with each other. They don't feel so much on an island on each single press.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good thing for morale, for production, for just us as a unit, right? The whole entire screen side.
Yep.
From a waste perspective, I see it better. And it's probably increments, but it's still better. And we're probably using maybe 60 to 75 or 80%. We're still not at 100% of the LED capacity. So I think we still have room to play. But with as much ink as we drop down with 305 or 350, which is where we live, I think it's perfect. Running it at like 60 to 65% of the LED.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I mean, and no shrinkage of any material because there's no heat. I mean, this is gonna last longer on the shelf. I mean, it literally is a game changer for us. When you're taking a legacy line and you're introducing this new technology, it's a wonderful thing that you guys allow the customer, in this case us, to hold it for like 60 days and then give you our feedback. And if you don't like it, here you can have it back.
Right.
That in itself tells us, the customer, how much you're vested.
Yeah.
Right? How much you believe in your product. We looked at a couple and we went to the Printing United shows. We looked at a couple of different technologies there, spoke to a few different companies, but Steve Bryant from NASDAR, our ink provider, he's like, you have to talk to Rob at SST.
Yes.
And so I guess they, had a friendship for many years, and he's like, this is the guy, and this is the different technology than everything else. And so that's what took me to you, Steve Bryant.
Okay. And how are you finding the LED, NASCAR's LED ink? I think they're running 2800 series.
2800.
How are you finding that compared to UV before?
So it's a little more, it's got less viscosity than the 35 and 3600 series. So it runs a little more liquid. And it actually lasts longer because of it. So for us, it works perfect because we run a lot of the flat presses.
Yep.
And the flat presses like this press, it takes about a gallon that you have to drop in the flood bar just to be able to have enough, an extra gallon that you use. But because it's so liquid, it's very user friendly. I really like it a lot.
With Joe Conti, he's the production manager with Screen Graphics here in Fort Lauderdale. Joe's in charge of everything to do with maintenance and keeping all the equipment here up and running. Wanted to get some thoughts from him about switching from UV curing systems over to the SST LED system. So thanks, Joe. Appreciate the time.
No problem. Good to be here.
First, you're going to give me some perspective, just strictly from a time standpoint, with the 6 UV presses that you converted over to LED from UV before. About how much time were you spending to maintain those 6 UV systems and blowers compared to what you're spending today?
Well, I mean, obviously there's some months are worse than others, but usually anywhere on average for 10 hours a month minimum, you know what I mean? Lot of different moving parts to break down. As for comparisons, 90% less maintenance here, which frees me up. That's running MERP vapor has had some fires probably. We've had our share, nothing major, but it does cause a lot of downtime. The cleanup, the bulbs ruin, take things apart, let it cool down. No issue, obviously, here with the LEDs on that front. Well, Jeff Chen and Nathan were super great, social, nice guys, down to earth, intelligent, efficient. I had zero problem with it, and the training itself, I mean, it's about 30 minutes. You know, you learn the control board, speeds, how to control your speed and your intensity, and very, very simple. Your water levels, cleaning your filter, very easy. 30 minutes tops. If you're paying attention, you're done in 30 minutes. Yep. Operators obviously love it. Less noise with all the blowers, you know, the cooling system and the vacuum fans, less noise for the operators, less heat for the operators. So it's great. It's great.
Thanks again to Joe and May and Ryan for all the information they were willing to share. It's really been a great partnership so far. I'd like to remind everybody watching that the same LED technology they were talking about today Works extremely well in just about any energy cured print environment, including offset, dry offset, flexographic, and even digital print applications. So feel free to reach out to me at any time. We're happy to do a customized ROI and carbon emission savings calculation for you. And also happy to help look into any rebates. Some of these are quite lucrative that are provided by your local energy suppliers. In many cases, those are approved actually quite quickly and easily. Thank you again for your time today, and hope you found the information helpful.